Yeah, no, I think so. I think the way that like quarantine's really been affecting me, it's just like it forces you to move different. You know what I mean? I feel like we've had the tools like before this. So the project we're releasing right now is called a Scathing Critique of Current Affairs, and I mixed, produced, got vocals, got different tracks from whoever just based off of like using like Google Hangouts or Facebook chat and everything like that. Earlier this year, in August, me and some friends under the name Slug released a tape called Loot Takers. And I mean, it's like we got a bass player, a sax player, like horn players. Like we like orchestrated like a whole album just off of Google Hangouts. So I think if anything, it like helped me like come to mind with like how available the tools are and how easy it is. Like I'm hoping like post COVID world, like I would love to like work in person, but like now I'm not afraid to be like, we can do this all remote. Like it's nothing is keeping us away from doing that. Cause like one of the tracks of the project, like the producer who made this track, Empire Shakes, is based out of Brussels, and I was just talking to him and met him on IG. So it's like so interesting working with people like across the globe. I think COVID really brought that out. No, honestly, it's this current project. It's a scathing critique. It's just like I was like ready to drop it in June, and which called unfortunately, which called I had beats lined up and it just didn't work out with the producer, and so I was like ready to be like, I'm dropping it. And there's what's called a local like blogger here in Austin. Her name is like Marg, I believe. She had me on just for like an IG live, and I sent her just like, oh yeah, here's the project, what it was, blah blah blah. And she was like, that's killer, you got to put that out. I was like, yeah, maybe you're right. I was like depressed afterwards. I was like, because I was like, this is the perfect project. Like I feel like my rhymes have like leveled up. The production now is like leveled up, and I was like, so 75% of the tracks are just gone. That's what you're saying. So I was like really picking up the rebel. So I'm like happy about this one. Like sometimes I'll get I'll ebb and flow between the imposter syndrome. What I mean, I'm like, man, all my stuff is trash. I hate it so much. Blah blah blah. The mix is bad. I sound like I still have a lisp. And then other days I'll be like, nah, that's not your thoughts. That's coming from somewhere else. You're comparing yourself to people who you can never compare yourself because you'll never be them and they'll never be you. And it's like I have to like, I've been like going to therapy too since quarantine. So I've been better about it. I've been like, that's not me. I gotta stop comparing myself to other people. But sometimes it's easy to get caught in that loop, especially as like, creatives, as like producers. It's like, there's always that one person who's like always level up. And you're like, damn, how am I gonna get to that level? And I trust my path. I trust where I'm going. As long as I stay present and move authentic, and I could be anywhere. Yeah, I think honestly, getting that word swing, yeah, that it is really good. It's not just like you in your head, and then honestly, just like I think there's a message within all of the music here that I'm really like put a lot of time and effort to like to convey. And I would it's like it's okay to be sad and depressed in that situation, but I'm like, gotta roll with those punches, I mean? And that's like a minor thing. There are much worse that happened to much better projects, you know what I mean? And not to say mine's not up there, you know what I mean? But like, it's just like, if something small like that's gonna hinder me, what else is gonna hinder me in the future? And I just can't allow small, because those small things will just become ingrained. Like, oh, one small thing and you just gave up, cool, blah, blah, blah. Might as well just quit rapping and like, I don't know, get a day job, you know what I mean? And I feel like if I'm gonna be, I think I just right after high school, just got right into poetry, got right into rapping, and didn't go to school. And my parents would always like hound me about that. They were like, hey, when are you going to go to school? When are you going to go to school? When are you going to school? And then finally, like, my mom and dad sat me down and they're like, all right, Charles, like, you're an adult, but like, if you're really going to do this music thing, if this is really what you want, you need to be doing it as hard, if not harder, than your peers going to their like bachelor's and master's program. Like you really have to like you have to want this, or you're just like wasting your time. And trust me, you're gonna regret it later. So to me, it's like it's a gamble, and so I'm like, you know, might as well gamble on myself. That's what I know. That's what I'm trying to know, you know, at least. So I was like, you know, it's got to come out. You know, I mean, the people need to hear it. And I think it's like, you know, I want to put it out into the universe.